Survivor's ready. Go!
Travis spoken.
Boston Rob and Amber are gonna do it.
This is a business trip, as I like to say.
You, Brad Culpepper.
I'm tired of you and the fucking chickens.
You can call me the puppet master. They can be my little puppets.
It's not like you're making me deal with the devil here.
You get to milk your own milk, I guess.
Who the hell voted for me?
Chicken.
We got enough rocks here, too. We could build a pretty decent shelter just using rocks.
I'm supposed to talk Lambert to you. You understand that better?
Direct from Hobart, it's time for the only Survivor podcast in Australia dedicated to Survivor, bringing you all the latest interviews, episodes, and opinions from the greatest reality show on the planet. It's Survivor Oz, and here's your host, Ben Waterworth.
Hello, and welcome back to Survivor Oz for another episode recap of Season 30, Worlds Apart. We're up to episode 7, I believe it is now. And as usual, we're joined with former contestants from past seasons to recap this episode. And I am absolutely thrilled to say that not only for the first time are we joined by a crossover contestants from The Amazing Race to Survivor, but this has to be officially the very first recap that's been done on Survivor Oz with twins. And everybody should have figured it out by now. We have the Anderson twins on the show this this week for our recap. So I want to say, first of all, welcome back for, I think this is the third time, to Survivor San Juan Del Sur winner, Natalie Anderson. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Colin. Thank you.
And thank you for having me too, Colin.
Well, I did very little work to set this up, but I'm happy to fill in for Ben today if anybody's wondering why Ben's not speaking right now. And also we have to welcome for, I believe, the first time since her exit interview all the way back in episode 1 of San Juan Del Sur, the other half of the Amazing Race 21-24 San Juan Del Sur twins, Nadiya Anderson. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Colin. Thanks for having me.
And Colin, this is Natalie. Just want to say congratulations to you guys on winning the World Cup. You know, Sri Lanka went out. Nadia and I were so excited. We thought we had a chance at making it to the finals. But congratulations to you, Aussie buggers.
Well, I'm sure everybody in Australia will be happy to hear that there's good sportsmanship on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, as long as India didn't win, I was happy.
And you guys, and it was awesome. You guys got to win on your home soil, so that's awesome.
All right. Well, we can do another podcast at some point in the future if you're both big fans. To be honest, there was a World Cup podcast that was done last year with Survivor contestants.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, during the World Cup last summer, we had Ethan and Abby Maria on, so we'll put you on the list for any type of future sports crossover events like that.
Awesome.
But, of course, today we are here to talk about Survivor, and we're a few days, as most people are listening to this a couple of days after the episode, or maybe listening to this the morning of the next episode airing due to some delays, which is why Ben's not here. But hopefully your memories are still fresh, and we can talk about the merge episode of Worlds Apart. I almost called it San Juan Del Sur. You two are throwing me off here. It's so soon into the season. But we start off right away, and this is what I always love about merge episodes, is that there's always interesting things going on. For once, we actually have a lot of drama before the merge even happens. And the first thing we saw was the fallout from the Joaquin vote last week, with Rodney obviously being on the outs in this trial.
Yeah.
So just to start off, I don't know who wants to go first. Maybe we'll start with Nadiya, since it's been longer since you've been on the show. What were your feelings on that whole vote out from the previous week and how Rodney handled it going in?
Yeah, I had deja vu watching the last episode when Joaquin got kicked off. It seemed just like how when Drew got voted off and John was so surprised. It was like watching that episode over. And then it was also a combination of how Natalie felt when, they voted off Jeremy. So I think it was a really interesting combination between the Jeremy vote and the Drew vote for our season. And it felt like all too familiar. So I really hope, he goes and gets them for Joaquin.
What about you, Natalie? What were your thoughts on it?
Watching him, first of all, getting voted off was kind of upsetting. I was kind of rooting for Joaquin. I was having a hard time kind of picking somebody that I could root for, and then I ended up loving Joaquin on the show. Plus, he's from New York, so Nadi and I just felt like a connection with him. So seeing him getting voted out sucked, and then the way Rodney handled the situation, I was actually pleasantly surprised with how he handled it back home. He kind of played his cards the right way with Mike, and he didn't overreact. He didn't cuss out anybody. He definitely showed a little bit of emotion, but I like the fact that he tried to sell it off as him and Joaquin, like he was using Joaquin and kind of playing Joaquin instead of acting like too emotional or anything with Mike. So I thought he did a good job coming back to camp.
We were talking about this in our episode recap back on Thursday. All of us were discussing how surprising it is since we saw Rodney. We've seen so many different sides of Rodney. He started the game as his, cool, calm, collective, and then we see the blow up with Mike, and then he handled this completely differently. I mean, do either of you think that Rodney is maybe going to show that wild card side again, or do you think that he's finally got his head in the game?
I think that Rodney is realizing, I think he's learned from his mistakes, and I think he's realizing at this point, like, he has to basically look out for himself, and I think hopefully he just keeps coasting with the same way, because I can see Rodney going far as long as he keeps his shit under control, and I actually like Rod in the game, so I think that he's kind of learned his mistakes and learned from watching the other guys overreact and see the girls' reactions to them. So hopefully he stays like this way towards the end of the game instead of being crazy.
Mm-hmm. I also have to get an opinion on Mike while we're at it, because I don't know. I'm not quite sure what to think at this point. It may be too early to really tell how Mike's game's coming together, but this is now 2 votes on his tribe where somebody, maybe not through Mike's fault completely, at least with Sierra, but this is now 2 people from his tribe that he's kind of ostracized a bit, and they're looking to really get out from under the blue collar. What are your feelings on Mike? We'll just go to whoever wants to talk first.
This is Nadiya. Mike is really he's doing a lot of narrating in the recent episodes, whereas at the start he just came off kind of like a doofus, and now he's taken more of a leadership role. So it's weird to see him evolving into somebody that's making smarter moves, and even with helping Kelly out. Last time he's really doing things on his own now, instead of just. So that's good. I could see him going far as long as he keeps playing a safer game. He's not really creating too many enemies out there.
I actually have to wonder if, when you said he was kind of acting like a doofus earlier, if maybe that was just the after effects of the scorpion venom from his early episode 1 snack. I mean, maybe that's worn off, and that's why he's kind of coming together now.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was wrong with him. And he was I think he's still kind of a little bit of, he's kind of ruffles people's feathers. Immediately as everybody merged, he's all right, I'm a worker bee over here, so, I'm going to get to work. It's Mike, if you want to do work, just do it. You don't need to, announce it to the tribe. And, but he's still carrying his weight around camp. He is making risky moves, but at least he's looking out for himself, and I'm really he's making it really exciting to watch, him helping Kelly in the middle of in the middle of a challenge, and showing her listen, I got your back. That was a good move to me. Risky, definitely, because if anybody who didn't know he was helping us sniffed it out, it would have been a mess. But the fact that he did that to show loyalty was awesome. Obviously, and Kelly ended up going home, which sucked, but I like Mike as a character, and I think he's fun to watch. And I also think that if he was sitting in a final 3, he would get votes. So he's a dangerous player in that aspect.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think Mike's one of those players who's right now looking like, he could potentially make a good tribal council pitch to people if he gets to the end. It's really all going to depend on how things fall after the merge and all the odd numbers that seem to be mixed up this week. They did merge pretty early in the episode, and I have to ask Natalie, with the merge feast that they had compared to yours, which side do you think comes out on top?
Oh my God, our feast was so much more amazing. It looked like not basic, but it looked not even half as extravagant as ours. Maybe because they had so many fucking people there, but it was like, I don't know, like our feast was amazing. We had like brownies and we had cookies and steak. Like, I don't know, that shit looked whack.
They also had to put together their own shelter again.
Yes!
And I don't even remember the last time that happened.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that was weird. That was weird.
Do you think that was some move on the producer's part, maybe to just add a little bit more tension, or what do you think was the rationalization behind that?
I have no idea. You know, the Coyopa stupid shelter was whack as hell, but at least we didn't have to rebuild it. And like the guys thought that it was so awesome, and it was like, it was a hot mess, okay? Because basically the guys didn't know what the fuck they were doing on Coyopa. But at least I would rather deal with a mess shelter than having to go back and rebuild a shelter from scratch. That was really weird. Nadiya and I were like, what the hell is going on? But I have no idea why they would do that. Nadiya?
Yeah, maybe because the producers and like Jeff got a lot of slack for like, you know,
being easy on
and going easy on Hunahpu when they finished up their rice and giving them more rice. Maybe they wanted to come down harder on this season to make up for it, because I know everybody felt like it was crazy that Hunahpu got more rice because they were being reckless. So who knows?
I know. Well, that's not our fault. We just asked. Okay?
Yeah,
Jeff
I know. But
gave it
maybe
to us.
that's what they're doing. Who knows?
Well, Drew asked. Okay, that idiot.
Just out of curiosity, how long did it take to build both of your shelters at the beginning of your game?
Our shelter took a while because, first of all, Drew and John decided to make it a fucking stilt house. So it was like literally to get on top, we had to launch. Like Julie had to like launch herself because she was so short.
Yeah. So John Rocker basically single-handedly built the shelter for us, and like he had all the little kids, like his minions, you know, just doing whatever he said. So he did a good job at just doing it, and all the girls just kind of let him take control of that. And we had no, like Natalie's case too, like we had no roof until like days in, and then we put the poisonous sap on the roof, and it was a damn mess.
It takes a long time, so it sucks that they had to rebuild. But whatever. I guess. I mean, I don't know what the point was because they didn't really show any kind of reasoning behind it, and they didn't show, it didn't cause any crazy, you know, situation at camp. So it was seemed weird.
Well, going back to Rodney for a second, we did see that he's still, although he obviously is trying to remain on the good side with Mike still, and the blue collars, he tried to put together his own Final Four alliance as soon as they got to the beach. To me, it seemed like it was just a random choice of people, and you know, there's probably some deleted scenes out there, but he decided at random he wanted to pick Will, Carolyn, and Kelly to be in his alliance. I mean, do you think there was any rationalization in picking those people, or maybe was he thinking that some were on the outs and they weren't?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, as soon as Rodney said that to Carolyn, and she was like, oh my God, so flattered. I told Nadiya, I was like, if somebody's coming up to you on day merge and it's like, dude, I want you on my Final Four or Final Three, I was like, it's never a compliment because that means they think they can beat your ass. But, which is, Rodney's reasoning is good, but I mean, if he thinks that these people are just kind of floaters and he wants to offer them, like, you know, protection, I can see that kind of happening because Caroline is kind of like, doesn't really show who her alliances are, and so she looks like she could need help. But I don't know, it seemed really random and more revenge-ish because he wants to get back at Mike. But yeah, I don't know where he pulled this alliance out of his ass.
Well,
because he doesn't know them that much to trust him and be like at merge to tell somebody you want to do Final Four with them. That's like, you know, if they go back and tell somebody else, that could screw your game up.
Totally,
so it's like, you know, less said at that point is better. But if he was doing it just based on trying to get people to vote with him because he's obsessed with numbers, maybe that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, see, I think that's the benefit of having people who have played the game on here, because I don't think it would have occurred to me to really think about somebody coming in on the day of the merge and proposing an alliance with people they don't know. That it wouldn't even occur to me, well, they probably don't have allies that are very strong if they're coming to you this late in the game, which means they're probably on the bottom.
Yeah. And
they don't trust their alliances, quote-unquote alliances.
Well, obviously with Tyler and Carolyn, you touched on it a little bit. They have this secret alliance that they're playing now, and they have played it very cool so far.
I like.
I would think that that's the way that most people would successfully play the game. But this season, every season kind of has its weird quirks. I know with the original Blood versus Water, they wanted to separate all the pairs. And in San Juan Del Sur, they wanted to keep the pairs together. And this seems to be, if there's any, they're calling them power couples, but sometimes it seems to be as simple as, oh, these two people are getting along.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and it's so crazy because Nadiya and I were talking about how, the merge in a Blood versus Water is so much more intense because you're having these people that have been separated for a certain amount of time, have no idea what's going on with each other, and then they're bonded back together. So there's alliances that have been made in the game, but then you have these blood alliances that are, some of them are 20 years old, and when they come back together, it's like, how does a person like me, a single who was out there by myself, fit into alliances that were, built way before Stupid Survivor?
With the merge with Blood versus Water and ours specifically, it was so much more of a crapshoot to see who would align with who compared to, whereas right now the lines are clearly still drawn by tribe, by color.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting, but, just comparing it to our season, it was crazy. Like Natalie said, there's so many different factors to see where the alliances would land after the merge on Blood versus Water.
Yeah. But wait, what was the question? Sorry, we go off on a tangent.
I don't know if we were just getting opinions on the Secret Alliance and
how
that works.
I actually really like Tyler.
Sub-alliance.
It's a sub-alliance, yeah.
For Keith,
yeah. I think it's really smart. I think she's, physically she's doing really well. And Nadiya also brought up yesterday how, all the quote-unquote moms in Survivor usually have a hard time being liked on the shows, and she's doing a really good job. She's being physically good on the challenges. She kicked, most of the young girls' asses on there, and then she's also just comes off likable and doesn't seem to be ruffling any feathers. But
at the same time, she's not being like Missy, where she's like overly momly. She's actually a pretty strong individual, a strong woman. So she's balancing off like the mom role along with being an independent woman in the game, but they still call her Mama C, so like it's cute.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely love Carolyn. She's by far my favorite player this season so far, and I'm really hoping the Secret Alliance works out regardless of what side they go with.
Likewise, I agree.
I have to get an opinion. This is what everybody's talking about after this past week. I don't know if we look forward to or dread the tribe merge names they come up with. And
oh my God.
America. I mean, we have to get opinions. Let's start with Nadiya on this. What is your opinion on America?
I think it's a cute idea. I don't necessarily think I would do it. Like, dude, you're in Nicaragua. You're not in America. Like, Survivor's never been played in America. I don't know if I would have picked it, but it's cute, I think.
I think it's funny and amazing in the most embarrassing way. Because it's almost like, are you kidding me? It's like so funny that for me, if I would name a tribe America, it would be to be in a funny, joking kind of way. But, clearly the Bloody Mike and stuff, they're like, this is like real life for them. And it's like, okay, awesome. Like, I would use America, #America in like a Instagram post of something so over the top American and cliche. But
redneck.
Yeah, or redneck. But like they just use it on like their everyday basis. But
it's cute.
It's funny, but it's not really Survivor-ish.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I agree. And again, we were discussing this last week, and I don't know how many of the seasons you've seen, or if you're familiar with the season Gabon, season 17, but previously until now, that was the worst tribe name, where they just called it No Bag, which was Gabon backwards.
Oh my God! Well, this is weird, okay? Because when we won Survivor, and then when we merged, we were coming up with names, and we wanted to name our tribe Florida de Caña, which is the type of rum in Nicaragua, but then that got vetoed. We came up with a bunch of names, and CBS has to approve it. Obviously, you can't name it like, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, so you have to get it approved. So I don't know what that process was, but we came up with a bunch of names, and then we ended up naming it just the merging of the two stupid original tribes.
Dumb too.
Yeah, ours was at least not original at all.
Yeah.
But we wanted Green Monster. They said no. He wanted green monster in Spanish, which I can't even remember what it is.
Yeah, that's cute.
That is cute because the color was green, but then they said no, so I don't know what.
See, that's dumb. So maybe they had like a whole bunch of other better names, and then this is the one that ended up working. Who knows? You have to ask one of them when they get kicked off.
I've never heard that before, but it does explain why it always seems to come down to, at least in a good handful of the seasons, just combining the tribe names. And fans are looking at this thinking like, that's really lame, like do something original. But now we realize there's a reason why it's lame, because CBS won't let you do anything else.
CBS, like, they have to approve it, and so, I don't know, they approved America, which I don't know. The hell, green monster in Spanish.
And the rum. Like, Flor de Carne is one of the best rums in the world.
Yeah.
And, that would have been a really cute tribe name.
Yeah.
If either of you go back on Survivor and it is in Nicaragua again, just promise me you will pitch Nicaragua as the tribe name.
Nicaragua!
Yes, that's awesome. If I ever go back, hopefully I won't be in fucking Nicaragua.
Yeah, never again. I don't want to visit. I don't want to go back and nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we did have the first immunity challenge, and I think as most people are aware right now, every time they're in Nicaragua, there's a problem with water challenges. And we've seen a few of them, but do either of you know why? Is it an issue with how harsh the waters are? Is there a lot of, as we saw, stingrays, things like that?
Yeah, well, the one thing is that our beaches are so rough, so you need kind of like a calm water setting. And there's one place in Nicaragua where we filmed water challenges, and honestly, it was far away from our tribes, so that logistically it was probably a pain in the ass. And I also think that it was probably not completely closed off from the public full time, and so it was probably more expensive to have that particular beach rented out. So the times we used it, like we used it for the sumo challenge, we used it for like the other 2 water challenges we had. It was awesome. The water's completely still, clear, nice, beautiful. But I think just the rest of Nicaragua, the beaches are just surf beaches, and the water is churny, and it's like rocks leading into the water, and so it's just impossible to try and do water challenges.
But at least you guys didn't get stuck with a disgusting pool.
Yeah, I saw the pool when I won tacos. We were standing and walking onto the beach, and I saw the pool that they used on the original Nicaragua tribe, which Brenda was in when they did old versus young. I think, was it that tribe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the disgusting pool, and I was like, at least we're not using that shit.
Yeah, it looks like a cesspool.
Yeah.
I have to bring up the last recap I covered for Ben was back in episode 1, and we had Jeremy and Val on.
Oh, cool.
And Jeremy told this hilarious story about a section of their beach where I guess some rocks had closed off and it was almost like a mini pool, and that Keith would just sit in there for hours, and nobody would ever question where Keith is, whereas if anybody else went in there, they'd be like, well, why have they been gone so long? But Keith could be in there for 4 hours and not even care how long he's away from camp.
Yeah, Keith would tell me, he's like, all right, Nat, I'm about to go to the hot tub. You coming? I'm like, I'm good, Keith, thanks.
I'm hot as hell out here.
Yeah, and he'd just go to these pools. He'd walk over in his boots, then take off his boots, jump in this pool. But it was so pretty. Like, I wish I had, like, a camera, because, like, I would go there with Keith sometimes and Missy and stuff, and, like, you submerge yourself in this before the tide comes back in, so it's like the leftover water in these like rock crevices. It was pretty awesome, but that was actually one thing nice about our beach. But it was like a fucking mile away, so to walk there, it's like all your energy. It was annoying anyway.
Well, I would hope at some point they could find a way to work the one nice spot on the beach into a Nicaragua season. Maybe it could just be a random challenge where it's like, Keith is somewhere on the island, go find him. And whoever finds Keith still sitting in the hot tub like 2 years later wins immunity.
Yes.
Where's Waldo? Get him a sweater.
The immunity challenge we had this time was a pole challenge. It's a simple challenge, but one that's been done many times before.
Yeah.
Did you like this challenge? Had you seen it before? Or
yeah, I've seen him do it before, and
I think it's badass.
I think it's a cool challenge. I think I don't know if you can correct me or like tell me the right information, but I feel like when Parvati did it, she took like 3 hours up there to get it down, or no? Am I completely wrong?
I don't remember what season she might have done it in. I know that there was a season, the first season she was in Cook Islands.
Yeah.
That lasted quite a while. And I think
I feel like this lasted like an hour and some change.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as long.
Yeah, so I feel like my season, if I was up there, I think it would have been like our immunity. Reed would have probably been able to be up there for like 5 hours. I think I could have lasted the second longest for my season.
Maybe Jeremy.
You know, Jeremy, if he was there. But, you know.
Drew's not bad.
Yeah, but I thought it was impressive that Joe won, and I was happy he won, but I don't think the rest of the people gave him a run for his money. Like, if I hadn't been there to give Reed a run for his money, he would have won like a cakewalk, and because he's so amazing at doing random stuff like that. But I wish there was somebody to give Joe a run for his money, so we could have seen them up there for at least 2 hours. Like, Reed and I were up there for 3 hours. Like, it was torturous, and it was way more uncomfortable than hanging onto a big stick.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the other thing that happened, and speaking of giving somebody a run for their money, we might have actually seen that had Jen not gotten
stung.
Terrible case of crotch sting from a bee or whatever that was.
Yeah, no, I don't think that, whatever, that's bee didn't really, I mean, it could have affected her, but I
don't think she was going to.
I didn't think she had it in her to beat, like, Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Who was the last one to fall off before Joe? Oh, yeah, it was Carolyn.
Yeah,
Mama C.
I think Carolyn, Haley, and
Haley was out, but I think Carolyn is the last one. He was Jeff goes, woman versus man, old versus young. Idiot.
I know. Like, how many more of those did Jeff had in him? I mean, we were talking about this when I was with.
Yeah, why don't you say attractive versus not attractive? keep being an asshole, Jeff. It works well, right?
Yeah.
Beard versus clean shaven. I mean, he's got
I don't know what
he's
a crazy person.
Does Jeff do a lot of taunting like that in these challenges?
This last challenge he's narrating, yeah, he's talking is a lot, and like sometimes it's so annoying, but like this last time when he was narrating, it was not good narration. I thought it was kind of weird and random. Like he didn't know what to say, like where'd he get to? And she was like, where do you think, Jeff?
Where I'm holding it.
Yeah, Jeff got a little bit awkward there for a moment.
Yeah, a little bit. He's like in a sensitive position spot.
There's been a lot of stinging this season, though. I mean, we saw it even early in the episode with Dan.
Yeah, but they didn't show our season, and I know I keep, going back to San Juan Del Sur, but Wes got sliced open by a stingray, and it was way worse than stupid Max's sting, and he could not walk for it was right before the merge, and it was like when we had randomly had 3 days in a row without challenges, but he could not walk, and they did not show even 1 second of him getting sliced open, which sucks. But Nicaragua waters are obviously not friendly.
Yeah, well, this is probably, I think there's been at least 2 stings we've seen this time. Did anybody on your season think to pee on it? Is that something that I know you go through some form of survival training before going in there, but what's up with that?
Yeah, no, they didn't tell us anything about stingrays, but it was when Wes got stung, as a joke. I was like, Wes, if you want me to pee on it, I'll pee on it. But it was just a joke because their doctors told us that you soak it in water. So Jen, I don't know what Jen is acting like she has all this information about being a lifeguard, about soaking it in hot water. But we all told, if you get stung by a stingray, soak it in hot water, and, you have to get the bulb out. But actually, interesting fact, Wes's foot was hurting, a week ago, and he went to the doctor, and the stupid stingray bulb was still in his foot.
Are you serious?
Serious. And Wes is I was like, Wes, tell CBS to cover that bill. He's like, they're not gonna pay. So the whole time since then, this stingray bulb has been in his heel, which is crazy.
And that's the one guy from the season that would just live with it and not say anything for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and Keith.
Yeah, Keith and him.
So Joe won immunity this time. We haven't seen a lot of him for a couple of weeks. Are either of you fans of Joe's?
Yeah, actually, I don't mind Joe at all.
I like Joe.
I like the fact that he gives it his all, and he's not a quitter, so that's good.
And he's not mean spirited at all. You can tell he's kind of like a John Mitch. He's such a good person, but people just me. I was just getting frustrated with John out there because I was like, you know what? Forget you with your nice attitude and trying to go to the final 3 with me and, have it all organized. But he knew he could win, but it was like, he's so sometimes almost too nice. So I was just like, Joe, like, get it together.
Yeah, and he's too sweet looking to be that nice. Like,
that's the same with John.
Yeah, like, he has a sweet face. He has, like, awesome hair, like a nice smile. Like, dude, be a little bit of a dick once in a while.
But he's cute. He's
cute, yeah.
Now, this is the second time we've seen him kind of be in jeopardy of leaving, but I don't see Joe panicking, really. I mean, is that just a result of his personality, or do you think maybe he just doesn't have a clue that he really has been targeted this early?
Yeah, he's super chill. Like, I want to say it's the no collar in him, but then look at Vince. Vince started tripping as soon as he hit the beach.
Yeah.
So I think it's mostly his personality, I think, probably, that he is kind of like chilling for the most part, and he's not getting worked up, which is totally working in his favor right now.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, there was a lot of people who were targeted in this episode, and I think this is one of the strengths that has come in the last couple seasons. Obviously, on these 3 tribe seasons, this is the second one we've seen recently. It helps where you have a lot of different factions and a lot of different allegiances going in, but also even on blood versus water seasons, as you were saying, you don't know who's going to be loyal to who. There's a lot of people who already have extra allies.
Yeah.
This was completely up in the air. At this point in the episode, before they had gone to tribal, let's start with you, Nadiya. I mean, did you have any clue, or who did you think was actually going to go?
For my tribal?
No, for this week.
Oh, for this tribal. Yeah, I had no idea. The bad thing is that anybody can be a target, but at the same time, anybody can be a target, so there's a big chance that it's not you, and there's a lot of places to hide. So, having so many people going into the first tribal is like a double-edged sword. I thought it was going to be Jen, the lawyer girl, because that's what they kept saying, that the lawyer girl was Joe's right hand, and I don't know how Jen ended up figuring it out that she was the bigger target than the lawyer girl, but I thought it was going to be her, and then Jen playing the idol.
I told Nadiya watching it, I had to give Jen props for playing her idol, because at that point in the game, I can see myself holding onto it and being really, really, having a hard time giving it away when there's so many people still on the chopping block, and being, kind of like being kind of jealous, like being selfish with the idol and trying to use it in a smaller setting. So I had to give Jen props for using it the way she did, because if I was her, looking at the people that are around me on the tribe, looking at, everybody, I'd be like, dude, there's so many better people that they could vote out instead of me today.
The thing that we were having debate about was whether or not it would have been a better strategy to announce that she was going to play it on Haley. There's one of the Ozlets on our show was saying she should have announced that she was going to play it and, switch one or the other. Was it smart for her to play it on herself, or do you think she should have revealed it earlier to maybe get them scrambling a little bit more? Or how would either of you have played this?
I would never, ever announce an idol like usage, just because it's just going to, one, make people think that you're a complete cocky as hell, and then just put an extra target on you. Like, I would have never, ever done it. I think obviously it worked well to advantage her doing it the way she did. But, it wasn't it was exciting, but it wasn't the idol. There's so many different ways you can use an idol. Like you said, you can spook people before the tribal to try and sway their votes a different way, but then it's just too many factors to consider. I think that her going in and saying if she got spooked at all at tribal and had any kind of weird feelings or weird vibes, she was gonna play it, I think that was smart of her.
What I really appreciate about this episode was how much Jen and Haley reacted.
Yeah.
Like, they were just screaming and cheering, and we don't usually see that. Do you feel like that may hurt them? I mean, sometimes, as you're saying, maybe some things can be perceived as being too cocky. Do you think it might hurt them that they did react so strongly to the idol play?
Yeah, no, like what Nadi was saying was basically in the moment, like the reactions at tribal, nobody's unless you literally the way Tony behaves at tribal is the most cocky I've seen people be sometimes, and like over the top. When I played my idol, I was so like unassuming about it. I got up and I was just like in a daze, just gave it. I didn't try and make a show of it, but then you see the reactions of the jury, and then like even Jacqueline hugging me and saying thank you when, Baylor's sitting right there. Those are just natural. They just happen. And I don't think, people are just reacting with such honest emotion because it's basically life or death in that situation. It's you or somebody else.
Especially when it comes to rookie players, like you
They've never
can't.
been
It's
in
going to
this.
be so hard when idols are being played and you're sending other people home instead of other people. It's hard to hide your emotions and act and disguise how you're feeling. So I think everybody's going to realize that that's just naturally how she was
And
feeling.
I think also everybody kind of knew they were a pair. It's not like they were in a secret alliance and they were like, oh shit, these two are friends. Like everybody already knew these two girls are like homegirls, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, I really like Jen. I mean, do either of you, are you rooting for Jen or what do you see in her game so far?
I think she's a likable character. I think so far she's not rubbing me the wrong way, but I'm not necessarily like rooting for her.
Yeah, she kind of rubbed me the wrong way with the whole with Nina, like the whole like, oh listen, like it's not my fault, you can't hear type shit, and she's like get over your fucking disability attitude. That was kind of messed up, and I was like, okay, bitch, calm down. But then
she also said she was really excited for her first tribal, like when they first lost.
Yeah.
And I was like, this bitch.
But I'm not rude. It's not like I don't like her, but I'm definitely not like go
her,
Jen, go.
Yeah. But she's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the real question mark this week is obviously playing the idol. I mean, it's one of those big cheer moments when you're watching as a fan. It's great to see somebody play an idol and have it work.
Yeah.
But will it actually save her for next week? Because obviously she's still on the bottom right now. So
yeah. And now everybody
pulls out an immunity.
And now everybody's paranoid. Like now, like if I was her, she has to be thinking, all right, I gotta win immunity. And that's how Jeremy was thinking when he won immunity, because he knew the week Julie quit that he was kind of at the bottom. And then when he knew he was at the bottom with, the whole thing going on. And so then when he won immunity with the stupid memory challenge, that's like the sense of relief that you can only get when you know that you are at the bottom and there's a chance that you can go home. So I think that she's going to be in a tough situation. Everybody's going to be so much more paranoid, and alliances are still not like drawn in the sand like they were my season, where everybody kind of knew the five of us were together, even though I was secretly not with them. But there was less room for budging, and in this season, like you said, the alliances are all up in the air, and so anything can happen.
Mm-hmm. With the one thing we haven't talked about is obviously Will. Will was kind of, I don't know if he was played, or Will's one of those guys where I love him as a character, but it's so hard to figure out if he's just being too erratic with his game. And obviously the blue collars kind of lured him in, not sure about where he would vote, so they told him to vote for Haley. So now he's kind of been exposed as the one person not voting in Alliance. I mean, is there a way for him to recover from this? Or I guess even a better question is, do you think Will would even bother to side with the blue collars now that he's kind of been burned by them?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell he's doing. I think nobody even gives a shit about what he's doing, because they're like, whatever, he's a hot mess. Keep him around, because he's just like a guy that you can lure in for a vote.
Last minute, yeah.
And nobody looks at him as a threat, so they're just like, whatever, who cares about Will? But I don't know. I like him. He's
like
funny.
You said, as a person.
But he's also.
It's hard to like him as a Survivor player, but it's easier to like him as a person than a Survivor.
But it's kind of painful to watch him out there because he looks like he's suffering.
Yeah,
he's like totally beat up, eaten up, everything. The only black guy I know that got burnt like in one day. He got burned faster than the white people. I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe everybody's still waiting for him to make those magical sandwiches that he's going to be able to put together.
Yeah, what? That was so random. Like, what? Are you still high off the pot that you had, like, in back home? Like, what the hell? Found some shrooms on the island? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Kelly was the one to go home, and it feels weird because, I mean, this was an episode where everything was up in the air. Anybody could have gone, but I don't think we've really seen a lot of Kelly this episode, or not even this episode, this whole season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crapshoot because if a team is winning, you don't get to showcase them. The most we saw Kelly was when Mike and her were kind of working together, and she said, I trust Mike now. Like, and she was saying how being a cop, it's hard for her to trust people.
Yeah.
But I thought that all that footage we saw of her would work out at Tribal.
There was, like, good things to come for those two.
Yeah, and then it was really, I like Kelly, even though I didn't get to see Kelly a lot, but just because she's a cop and she looked like a badass, but then obviously not enough of a badass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do either of you see a reason why she was targeted? Because it just seemed to come out of nowhere. They just threw the name out Kelly. Like, why do you think it was?
I don't know. Maybe she didn't have strong alliances with any of the female characters on this. On females,
and females are more like they're more emotionally gonna make decisions. So maybe they're like, "Oh, this bitch, fuck her."
I don't know. I don't think there was reasoning except for the fact that maybe the girls thought she was a physical threat, stronger than them. But then it's like, why wouldn't you get out a guy if you were basing your vote on like who's gonna be hard in immunity challenges? Vote out Joe's ass then because he's good at challenges. I don't know why they went after Kelly, but yeah.
Well, Nadiya, I mean, you know better than anybody, I would guess, that sometimes people just will look for any reason, vote out. I mean, your episode where it came down to people who probably had heard of The Amazing Race but never seen it, thinking that you had some type of like strategic advantage from going around and completing challenges and saying hello to Phil, once every 3 days. Yeah. It really... It kind of bothers me as a fan whenever somebody is voted out like that. Like you were like Kelly, where there doesn't seem to be a reason. But I would guess when you're playing this game, sometimes if you're looking to target somebody, you just look for whatever reason you can. Yeah, and most of the time, if it's not me, I don't give a fuck who it is. Yeah. So then it just takes somebody putting a name out there, and if everybody just literally just jumps on the bandwagon, it can go from, oh, what about this? To hell yeah, this bitch is out today, Yeah. So it literally changes, like the ripple effect on Survivor is so out of this world. You can't even start to like think about like the chain of events in Survivor, like because that's basically small Survivor is just one big ass chain of events from day 1 to day 39. So it just could have been one of those situations for Kelly too.
And I think from Nadiya's game point, like if she had done something like. When we walked out on the beach, Jeff introduced us as the girls that have been on Amazing Race twice. That kind of sealed Nadiya's fate on her tribe. But if Nadiya had done something like, if she had showed up at the beach and like, hey guys, so I think everybody should listen to me because I've been on 2 reality shows. I know what to do. And I'm like totally going to rock this whole Survivor shit. Like if she had said that and people voted off, then I'd be like, okay, it makes sense. But the fact that Nadiya got kind of exposed by Jeff and then people... had something to talk about. That's the only thing that anybody knew about anybody on that.
Yeah, it's not like Jeff introduced John Rocker as, hey, so this is John Rocker, the notorious redneck racist who played for the Braves. We would have had something else to talk about. I was the only one who was introduced as more than just a human being on Survivor. You have to clear something up for me that I've been wondering. The people who targeted you, had any of them even seen The Amazing Race? Oh, stupid Dale is like...
No, Wes had seen some of it.
Wes had seen some of it, but he couldn't have picked me out of the lineup between me and the 7-Eleven worker. Trust me. But Dale is such a freak. Dale applied for The Amazing Race with stupid Kelly back in the day.
And got denied.
And got the boot. And so he's a super fan.
So he's probably secretly jealous too.
Yeah, and then he knew he was on the bottom. I was targeting Dale, which made sense. He was just useless. He had already made us spy, and that was it. I told everybody, I was like, we've got all that we can out of Dale. Let's vote him off. So, he knew he was in the bottom. He was totally aloof from the rest of the cast. So he probably made a, decision that I need to get somebody else out.
Yeah, and he sold it well in his defense. And like, listen, I said this, I was like, he didn't get to talk at finale, but clearly he was onto something because I ended up winning, and he called that out in the art. He's like, listen, these girls are dangerous. They can do well in the game. Let's get her out before they get beat.
So he was onto something for what it's worth. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think there's probably only a few Amazing Race teams where that might be a little bit justified. I mean, I think you two and maybe the Afghanimals are the teams where you played a little bit harder than most, a little bit more competitive. Yeah. So maybe there's some justification.
Exactly. No, I understand where he's coming from, but that situation was stupid of Koyopa because they sucked as a tribe. Yeah, it didn't make sense for Koyopa to vote me off. Like, come on. Like, I'm sitting next to fucking Baylor. Like, I thought I was safe as long as I had somebody like Baylor next to me.
Well, we're going to move on to, we're getting close to the end here, to listener questions. And I'm going to hijack this for a second and interject one of my own, just because I'll start off by saying I have two 4-year-old nieces who happen to be twins as well.
Oh,
And
yay!
I will say their names are Natalie. One of them is Natalie. The other one's not Nadiya. It's Teresa.
Okay.
So I found out the other day that apparently Natalie and Teresa, obviously since they are twins and share one of the names, that last season they were watching the season with their dad and they spent the entire season cheering the two of you on. So
Oh my God, that's awesome.
would you mind giving a little shout out to Natalie and Teresa?
Of course. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, Teresa.
Thanks for watching us on Survivor and cheering for us. It's always cute when we see twins, especially girl twins, cheering us on. It was really hard, but, always have your sisters back.
And it might be hard, and sometimes you're going to want to kill her later on when you get older, but just remember, she's going to be your best friend forever.
You're stuck with her, so you might as well like her.
This is what they're looking forward to. Podcasts and $1 million and the occasional wanting to kill each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, moving on to actual listener questions now. We've got quite a few of them. I'll start off with one question here from Ori Kohav, who has a question for Natalie. He's asking, whose edit is Boston Rod, obviously referring to Rodney. Whose edit is Rodney more similar to, yours or John's?
John was never like an asshole. I think probably me. I had the blowout with Rocker at the start. He's had a emotional like kind of episodes. And he got blindsided, and he's like number one got voted out there, and my number one got voted off. And so I would say it's more similar to mine, but not like between John and me, definitely me.
The second question that Ori has is again towards Natalie. In the history of Survivor, all those who were actually saved by an idol never won the game. Was that a factor in you saving Jacqueline with your idol?
No, I had no idea that was a fact of the game. That's really actually interesting. I did not think about playing it for myself that day because I was secure in my relationship with Missy and Baylor, and I knew that they wouldn't vote me out in that point of the game because I still had Jacqueline on the board. But that's really interesting. That's really funny actually. But no, I just voted out Jacqueline because that was the only way I could, vote out Baylor without telling too many people except one person. That was Jacqueline. She was on the bottom. And so I knew she had nothing else to do. She came with every single thing packed to tribal. Like she was 100% sure she was going home. Like there was no ifs, wins, or buts because Keith won immunity that leg. And, not that leg, that tribal. And, another interesting fact that somebody told me that I only voted for guys the entire season except for that Keith vote when he had immunity and I had to vote for a girl because there was no guy I could vote for. And that was the only time I voted for a girl, and that was Baylor, which is kind of funny too.
It almost would have been a good argument to make, though, if you go to tribal and you could say, you know what, Jacqueline needed me to play an idol to save her.
Yeah, they didn't show my whole tribal speech. I wrecked those girls up there, but they edited it to make it look so stupid. I was like, the only reason, I'm the reason why both your stupid loved ones are sitting in the jury right now, and you still came with me to final 3. They didn't show that.
We do have a question here for Nadiya as well, or a couple of them. This question comes from RB. I'm just going to call him RB because I have no idea how to pronounce this last name.
That's fine.
It says, how much harder is it to play when you're in the minority?
This is such an interesting question.
Oh my God, you could go on.
I could go on and on this, but I'm just going to start off by saying, we had our one-on-ones with Jeff when we first got to the beach. We had never met. Everybody else had initially met Jeff during casting. We met Jeff in Nicaragua, and he just tries to get a sense of where you're at when you get on the game. And the question he had for me was, how does it feel playing Survivor being a double minority, meaning a woman of color? And my answer to him is...
imagine if you were a lesbian, then it's triple minority.
If I was a dyke, then it would be like triple threat almost.
Triple under threat.
Yeah, triple disadvantage. But I told Jeff, I was like, if I could show up to the beach and have it be 18 brown girls and 3 white guys, would that be awesome? Hell yeah, that would be awesome. But that's not the world we live in, obviously. And it's not the world we live in, and it's not Survivor. So, it is definitely a huge factor, just as in real life, being a minority. But, especially when you're forced to connect and relate to people off of solely, appearances and how you look at the start. It's also hard to stay under the radar as somebody who is a minority sometimes, so it's a huge factor, but you can't let it really affect your game and have it be like a chip on your shoulder at all.
Yeah, I think it really is a factor in the first couple of votes where everybody's basically voting in what they're comfortable with. They're going to gravitate to what they know, what they're comfortable with, and that's automatically going to be the people that they hang around with. If there was a white guy who had all brown friends, maybe they would have come to Nadiya and be like, I love you, I'm going to vote with you. But most people are comfortable with who they hang out with in real life.
And I talk about this all the time. If Jeremy hadn't volunteered and sent Val to exile, if Val was there with me at the start, it would have been a totally different game, because I know me and Val would have connected just off of the strength that we're both minority women. We wouldn't have to.
And maybe if So Kim was there.
And if So Kim, me, and Val were all there, all three of us were minority women, the white girls couldn't have ganged up on us. Stupid Baylor.
Well, we have RB has a second question here for Nadiya. He's wondering which type of player is harder to play with, the fans of the show or the people who know very little about the game?
Yeah, I mean, this is not really a good question for him, except, for this initial vote, I would say, definitely for the initial vote, for the first vote, my experience in the first vote, I think it's harder to sometimes play with people who have no idea what's going on, because if Koyopa knew what the fuck was going on, they wouldn't have voted my ass off. They would have realized that we were losing, that they needed a strong girl, that I'm the only girl that could have beat Natalie in any fucking thing with coming challenges, and they wouldn't have voted my ass off. So from my experience, it was harder playing with dumb nuts on like Koyopa had.
But then on my experience, being on my camp, seeing how retarded people were being, like stupid Reed was being a hot mess, I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want. Yeah. People are being so stupid that I can just, coast on by and let Freakazoid just...
It just really depends on the vibe of your tribe. Yeah. So for me, it was definitely a hindrance playing with idiots.
Yeah.
RB is a huge fan of Nadiya because he has a third question here.
Oh my god.
I wasn't actually going to include this one because it's related to Ben, who's obviously not here today. He wasn't able to make it. Yeah. But Ben assured me that I should still ask the question to you. So he's wondering, and base it on whatever you can from your experiences talking to Ben. Is Ben a great interviewer or just easy to relate to because he's just one of the girls?
Oh God. I know, and he told me that when he first interviewed me. I mean, I love the gays, and Josh was serving. I hadn't met Reed, obviously, so I was just basing it on Josh. But I tell everybody, when it was just Josh approached me when I got to this thing, so I understand that I related to Josh just like I probably related to Ben, and I actually felt a connection with Josh, So I did the same with Ben as well. But, no. It's not just because he's one of the girls, but probably one of the reasons.
So, those are our listener questions, the ones we're able to fit in today. Most of them were from RB, but RB is obviously glad, and as are Natalie and Teresa right now.
Yay. We have to want to make them a video or something. It would be cute if they're... I don't know, we can tweet a video to them or Instagram it or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They would love that.
Yeah. Cute. They're 4, right, you said?
They're 4 years old, and they've been watching Survivor for at least your season and this one.
That's awesome. Cute. That's crazy.
Just one more comment to fit in here. Ben just wants to let you know that he's disappointed he couldn't be here, and he is hoping to get you both back on the show at some point. Nadiya, especially you for maybe an extended interview soon. So... shout out to Ben, and Ben wishes he could be here.
Yeah, sorry we messed up because we were in Miami, and then we were supposed to do the interview, and then we weren't together, and then we just got back together. Yeah.
Ben's loss is my gain, so I'm not going to be too sad for him.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll do another one.
Yeah.
We have a final set of questions here, just that we're asking all the contestants about this season.
Okay.
So before we start, just so we get a proper order here, I have to ask, which one is the older sister?
Natalie.
Natalie's older? Okay, so we'll just go based on age here. It's probably, by 1 minute, 2 minutes?
No, it was actually 30 minutes.
Yeah, 30, almost 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Really? Nadiya, you didn't want to come out?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some complications.
My mother did natural, she's brown, so.
Oh. Well, let's start here with Natalie then. At this point, now that we've hit the merge, who's your tip to win?
Boston Rob!
Rod.
Yeah. I don't know why I'm picking him because he seems like the most unlikely. I don't think it's going to be Mike because he's getting like a quote unquote a lot of editing time and he's doing a lot of narration, kind of like Josh and Jeremy. And so I don't think Mike is doing that. I think I'm going to be rooting for Rod.
Yeah, I do have to say, just as my little shout out here, one of the reasons that I loved your game in San Juan Del Sur is it reminded me a lot of the season 4 winner Vesepia, who is somebody who is able to master the game by working on the bottom of alliances and not being in the majorities. So I don't think it's that unusual. I mean, you were able to pull it off. I don't think it would be that unusual for Rodney to pull off. He's obviously looking at a long-term game too. He's not jumping the gun trying to get his revenge on Mike or anybody.
Yeah.
So fair enough pick. What about you, Nadia?
Yeah, I mean, me and Natalie talk about this, and I feel like similar. I feel the same as Natalie, only because I think most of it is because I'm rooting for him so much that I want him to win. And you know, my pick would be him mostly because I'm rooting for him.
Okay, so you're in agreement on at least one. Let's see if we can get this for all 5 questions.
Yeah.
Who is your dark horse? So who do you think maybe is an underdog but could slip through with a win? Natalie.
Maybe Jen. I don't know.
That's a good pick. I would agree.
I don't know. Dark horse is somebody you don't think is going to win, but could win.
Yeah, somebody who maybe doesn't have that strong of a shot right now, but you think that they could pull something off down the road. I mean, you obviously would have been a dark horse at this point in San Juan Del Sur.
No, hell no.
You don't no shot in hell. That's what I'm saying. No shot in hell.
No, Natalie, you can't just pick the biggest.
Fine, Caroline.
All right, we have our first change. Nadia, are you going to agree, or do you have a different pick?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me, maybe the lawyer girl, because she's like not really getting too much of a storyline, and she's kind of going along with. She's kind of like just drifting along right now. Maybe the story girl, the lawyer girl. What's her name?
Okay, Haley.
Haley. Maybe.
Next question, Natalie. Who do you think's the next person to go?
I think the next person to go is going to be Shirin or whatever.
Shirin.
Hopefully that is the case.
Yeah, and I have to agree with Natalie only because I'm hoping that she goes home as well.
Are you not fans of Shirin?
No, it's like, she's just she's sometimes fun to watch actually, but she's like everybody else on her cast and like the beach thing. She's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Totally.
You're not the first contestant that we've had on for a recap this year who said the same thing.
So see, it's not us.
Maybe it could be editing too. You never know.
It could be editing, but obviously it's not just us. A lot of people feel this way apparently.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Natalie, if you were on this season, white collar versus blue collar versus no collar, which tribe would you be on?
Well, because of my lifestyle, I would be no collar because I'm technically a student, but I've taken so many semesters off because filming and stuff. And so Nadia and I would totally be no collar at this point.
Okay. I think that's what we'd figure about you.
Yeah. I'd be brown collar.
Final question here for Natalie first. Which player on this season do you feel is most similar to how you played?
So far, I would say... I think maybe a combination of Jen and Boston Rod. I think Jen did a good job at the start, kind of keeping our options open and creating a strong bond with Haley, which I did immediately with Missy and Jeremy. But then again, I think I'm a little bit like Rod, where I'm being aggressive sometimes with people and calling people out on their shit and not just being somebody that's just going to lay around camp. If somebody's going to do something, I'm like, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing? And so maybe a combination of those two. That's all. I mean, it's.
But they both suck at challenges.
Oh yeah, they suck at challenges.
So maybe a combo of like him, Joe,
and
Rod, and like this is the best of everybody and all the garbage we leave behind.
Yeah, just like all the good characteristics of all the players.
No, that is basically a supernova of all the good characteristics of this entire season.
Everybody but Shirin.
Everybody but Shirin,
yeah. Yeah, useless.
What about you, Nadia?
I mean, totally so
yeah.
Pretties. I mean, we're both minority girls,
Blindsided.
You know, I was
strong in the game.
I was probably the strongest girl on RC on my tribe. So Kim was definitely the strongest girl on her tribe, you know. And also she kind of did. I didn't go as crazy as she did on tribal, but at my tribal, I definitely talked the most. I was kind of like the leader in our tribal. I kind of like run that tribal before I went home. So me and So Kim are totally soul survivors together, sisters.
By any chance, do you know which tribe she would have been on in San Juan?
She was supposed to be on my tribe.
Yeah, I was supposed to have two.
So like as soon as she got back from you know, I didn't know she had gone back out to refilm, but when I got wind of that, I reached out to her and she reached out to me, and then, you know, then when it ended up her being voted off first, I was like, girl, what the fuck? And she was like, trust me, like, this is a mess.
But she also told Nadi, which is like kind of, if I hadn't won and So Kim came back and said, you know, if I was on your season, me, you would have worked together, that could have left Nadia being like, oh my God, what a, you know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But since I won, Nadia didn't give a shit. But if I had also gone out early, I would have sucked for both of us, because we would have been thinking in the back of our head, if So Kim and Do Kim were with us, that would have changed the whole
game.
Yeah,
and like when we saw them, like me and Natalie already knew, like off the bat, like I would totally work with them. Like you said, just because you need things that you could relate to. She was from New York. She was from New York. She's a minority woman from Asia. Like, you know, it's crazy. So me and So Kim are like, you know, survivor sisters, twinnies. More than me and Natalie, me and So Kim are survivor twinnies.
Yes.
I know at some point in the future they have to do like a winners versus first boot season, and then we could guarantee we could have both of you back on, and we could see that Nadiya and So alliance.
You know what I told, and I said this to like Lynn, the girl who does in casting. I said first three and final three, so all one tribe of all final three players and one tribe of all first three outs.
Oh, that would be an amazing season.
Yeah, and it has a cute name. First three, final three. It's perfect.
Yeah.
At this point, it's safe to assume that, you know, I think one, if not both of you, will probably be brought back for a future season, or at least considered.
Yeah, hopefully.
Would you do another Amazing Race season? Just curious.
I would do it if it wasn't this. It wasn't like fucking dating.
It would depend on the like. Especially for us, now that we've done Survivor and go back to Amazing Race, if they did an all Survivor player Amazing Race or something, like, it would be awesome. We couldn't play with rookies, obviously.
No. If we would only be on an all-star season or like a random twist.
Yeah,
like,
so
all girls or some bullshit.
It would have to be like the weirdest, you know, theme for me and Natalie now, because we're in this weird.
I mean, people have gone back to stupid just all stars 3 times.
Yeah, but nobody's done Survivor and gone back for an all star.
No, what about Boston Rob? Didn't he do that?
He did that.
He went to.
Well, he did 4 seasons, so
he did 3 of Survivor.
So we're one shy of Boston Rob. That's really scary.
But I won Survivor on my first take. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
It took him 3 seasons to win.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess at this point he would be just ahead of you on like CBS's All-Stars, because he did 2 Amazing Race, 4 Survivor seasons. No,
so wait, he did 2 Amazing Race?
Yeah, you need at least 3 more CBS seasons under your belt to match Boston Rob.
So Rachel Riley has done 2 Amazing Race and 2 Big Brother.
Oh, that's right. So she's at 4 too.
She's 4.
She's 4.
Me and Nadiya only 3.
But there are people that have done 3 Amazing Races, like Mallory and our dad.
But that's still only 3 shows.
The Globetrotters.
That's 3 shows. This bitch has done 4. Rachel Riley.
She's done 3.
4. 2 Amazing Race, 2 Big Brother. That's 4 shows.
Oh, yeah.
4
but
seasons.
if you combine, I mean, you're twins, so if you combine the 2 of them, you're at 6 already.
Oh, yeah. As a team, we're leading it.
Yeah, as
there
individuals.
You go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but then, I can't believe Boston Rob has done 2 Amazing Races.
Yeah.
Oh, on top of that, I mean, he did a special on his wedding.
Oh my God, he did?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Him and Amber had a televised special on their wedding.
Oh, so did Rachel Riley.
Riley. And then now stupid Tyson is on reality rehab.
Yeah, no.
Oh, is he?
Marriage rehab.
A couple boot camp.
We're just naming the whole show.
Well,
yeah,
I'm sure
that's a mess, because their relationship seems fine. I
don't know why they're on like couples therapy.
Yeah, that should be John, Rocker, and Julie.
Seriously.
Well, it was a pleasure to have both of you on the show here again, and
thank you so much, Colin. You have to shut us up, because obviously we can keep talking.
Well, we know we're going to see you at some point on a CBS show in the future, and hopefully we'll have you back on Survivor Oz, or maybe even on our Amazing Race Oz at some point.
Who knows?
We have to actually watch Amazing Race this season.
It's not the best season if you want
I
to
just
start
don't like
watching.
the dating thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's going along with the dating thing, if that makes
Yeah.
you feel
like,
better.
But the magic that happens in Amazing Race is in the
part
relationship.
In the relationship, like
In the old relationships, in the dynamic, nobody if I was teamed up with a stranger, I'd cuss him out. But these people are just being bored.
and it's not interesting. Like, you want to see people that have connections on Amazing Race. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
We're actually in Connecticut for Amazing Race casting call.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So what do you do there? Is it just to, talk to the other teams? Or?
Yeah, like,
It's
give up
cool.
tips.
This is like our first kind of gig, and like we're out here hosting the event, and then we watch couples audition for Amazing Race and give them advice, and then we do like a picture session and a signing session.
So it's cute.
It's cute.
Oh, that's great. Hopefully you'll be back on Amazing Racer in another season, or even Survivor, but we'll start with Survivor Oz first. We'll get you back on pretty soon, and you can check in next season. I'm sure Ben would have no problem doing a recap with you next season. We could see how your predictions hold up. Most players' predictions don't hold up well from one season to the next, but you're at a good point where you've hit the merge, so you may have a little bit better of a perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what happens.
All right. Well, thanks again for both of you for being on here today.
Thank you.
Bye.
And as I said during the recap there, I'm very glad, at least for my sake, that this week Ben wasn't able to make it and I was able to do the recap because I'm huge fans of Natalie and Nadiya from both The Amazing Race and Survivor. Hopefully we'll have them back on again in the future, or Ben will have a chance to chat with them. And next week, I'm not too sure who Ben has lined up as a guest for the recap, but it's sure to be somebody good. I've had some really good recaps this season. The episode, as we mentioned earlier, it is getting up a little bit late, obviously. By the time you're hearing this, probably sometime during Tuesday. New episode will be airing tomorrow, and hopefully the recap will be done on the weekend as normal when Ben has a chance to do it for next week's. In the meantime, there's always the Oztopsy, as usual, after the Australian airing of Survivor. And Amazing Race Oz should be going up soon. Plus, we have chat this week, another one that, due to scheduling reasons, Ben wasn't able to make, that I'm going to be recording in about 3 hours and probably putting up around the same time. Be chatting to Jillian Larson from Survivor Gabon. Her charity event, Reality Rally's coming up, and as we do every year, we'll be chatting to her. So listen to those, and make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes. There'll be lots of content coming up as usual in the coming weeks. Until next time, I'm not Ben Waterworth, and we'll see you next time on the train.